Hello, I'm Jashikins, and welcome to another episode of The Raven Speaks. Again, feeds over here, camera and script are over here, so we got that set. And I swear this week has been dedicated to making me procrastinate videos and posts because Sunday I can't remember what happened, but I just wasn't able to practice for my Amor's dramatic reading on Monday, so that happened. And then on Tuesday on Netflix, American Horror Story Apocalypse dropped, putting me in super binge mode, so I didn't get the Aragon dramatic reading prepared for today. So it's just like this week's like, oh, we're going through a bunch of different stuff. And my first review of the Dune series for my Patreons, I'm again halted from reading the book because an indie author I like has released an arc of the sequel, making me, I'm going to read a little bit more of the Dune book I'm reading, and then down that book hopefully in 2 or 3 days. So this week is like, we're going to make sure Jashikins does not get everything she wants done this week. We are dedicated to this shit. But anyways, on to this week's episode, which was supposed to be last week's, but what didn't finish the script in time, but never mind. Anyways, The Raven Speaks is a series of weekly videos about a variety of subjects. Feel free to comment below to suggest the topic for a future episode. And this one's about it, but you can choose a different fandom: Game of Thrones, Animorphs, Hannibal, whatever. And I'm hoping one day to have this series just of viewer requests, because as it is now, I keep on throwing out my net going, I think this is what they'll really enjoy. And but anyways, about this week's episode. It Chapter 2 was a fun and enjoyable film. I did my best to separate the book from the movie, but that wasn't possible all the time. I will list some things that needed to have stayed more faithful to the book so a better movie could have been made. So, if I don't include something, you can just ask in the comments below, because this is not a full list. After I finish the list, I'm like, hey, I think I could have added a thing or two more. But anyways, so if you haven't yet read It by Stephen King, do so. You won't regret it. It's awesome. Really long, though. Part 1. Linear storytelling was the wrong choice. The book is told in a non-linear format. In It Chapter 1, I didn't mind that being ditched for a linear format. The movie was able to build tension and put importance on key scenes with a more standard format. However, It Chapter 2 suffers greatly from a linear format. In the book, you follow the losers as they slowly recall what happened 27 years ago. This helps build suspense, and you read on to see what happened in the past and what will happen in the present. Part 2. Stan Uris's death was not well done. In It Chapter 2, you already know a good deal about It before Stan kills himself. In the book, all you know about It by the time he kills himself is that the Thing killed Georgie and helped in the death of a gay guy. For the people who have seen It Chapter 2, that death is told in the opening scene. Stan's death helps to build up even more suspense of it. The mere mention of coming back to Derry is enough for him to lose his cool and kill himself. That makes the reader even more curious to find out answers to what's really going on. Oh, and in the book, Stan's suicide wasn't a sacrifice for the good of the group. It was just a suicide because he couldn't stand the thought of facing it ever again. Which makes the letter from Stan at the end a little baffling. Why did the people who made the movie feel they had to justify Stan killing himself? Fuck. Like, honestly, some of the reviewers I've listened to that have read it and saw it chapter 2 have commented on how odd Stan Uris's death is done in the movie, just the whole justification thing. Like, they pointed that out. I agree. Part 3, defeating Pennywise felt more epic in the book. It chapter 2 had it being defeated in a lackluster manner. The surviving losers made it feel bad, which caused it to shrink. Hardly a good ending as it felt silly. Plus, the ritual of Chud, which is different in the book, actually worked and added some cosmic horror to the already creepy tale. Maturin had helped the losers while children, but was now dead, which meant he could no longer help them. This also added in a true sense of despair as a powerful ally was dead. For non-book readers, Maturin is the turtle who accidentally created our world by barfing it up. So now you know why there are all those turtle references in It chapters 1 and 2. Part 4. Scavenger hunt was pointless and not needed. Subplots added to adaptations can be a good thing. For some, every surviving loser walking around town to look for their MacGuffins was a good departure from the book. This due to how it gave a believable reason for them to explore their hometown. In the book, they were instructed just to walk around town to help stimulate their memory. Their full memories had to be back before they faced off against it. To me, this was believable and didn't need a scavenger hunt to justify it. And by the end of the movie, the scavenger hunt proved to be a waste of time and therefore an excuse to pad out the runtime. Part 5. Eddie's death was more epic in the book. Oh, nom nom nom. Say nom nom while drinking it. As I've damn it. Let's do that again. As I've stated earlier, I didn't feel like the final fight against it was that strong, and Eddie's death suffered because of that. In the movie, he turned away and was killed by the not really dead it. Everyone knows that when you're in a horror movie, you have to make double and triple sure that the big bad villain is actually dead. In the book, Eddie went down fighting. He didn't turn his back. No, he died while still fighting. And, of course, giving one last comeback to Richie. Part 6. Losers should have all gotten amnesia. The surviving losers retaining their memories bugged me. For a while, I couldn't understand why until I read a review. Then it hit like a brick hitting me on the head. It has themes of nostalgia, loss of innocence, and past scares affecting you even when the past is forgotten, even when you have the chance to move on. The losers forgetting what happened in Derry when they faced it was them leaving their past firmly behind. It is a bittersweet ending, as they were now able to move on without the evil clown hunting their nightmares. Hang on. I read that wrong. And I wrote this thing. Hey! Anyways, it is a bittersweet ending, as they were now able to move on without the evil clown haunting their nightmares. Yet, they also forget all the good memories they have from their time in Derry. But that's that's I can't read now. My mouth has decided I'm going to give up. I'm going on vacation. I'm having a few margaritas. God damn. Yet, they also forget all the good memories they have from their time in Derry. But that's what real life is like. You forget good and bad memories without any say on which ones can stay. So, yeah, It Chapter 2 should have had the losers forgetting their time in Derry. Part 7. Not enough focus on spouses. The book, focused heavily on how even though we grow up, some things never change. How we sometimes are stuck in cycles and never move on as much as we think we do. One of the ways the book did this was focusing on who the losers married. And the fact there wasn't a larger focus on them was a huge disservice. Eddie married a woman that looked and acted exactly like his mom. Even though he made headway into becoming a better person, he still couldn't stand to leave his mother behind. Bill married someone that looked exactly like Beverly. So even after all their time apart, he still loved her. In the book, Bill and Beverly do have an affair when they are adults, though she ultimately ends up with Ben. Beverly is a strong woman, and no one can dispute that. She, along with the other losers, helped defeat it the first time. Yet she marries a physically abusive husband like her dad. It is shown that she does get sexually stimulated by the abuse even as she fears her husband. The first time she ever defied him was when she decided to meet up with the other losers in Derry. In the book, he tracks her down and attempts to kill her. I connected with her story and felt for her the most. Her marriage decision showed that no matter how much we think we have moved on from past abuse, we need to be constantly aware of it happening again, and that we never fully recover. And yeah, that's happy. Let's end this on a happy note. But yeah. And what did you think? For those of you who have read it and also watched It Chapter 2, what do you think about what I picked out? Do you agree with them? Do you disagree? Do you think they should have kept some things more similar that I didn't mention? Please comment down below. And also, feel free to suggest the topic for a future episode. I'd really, really love it if this series turned into just me doing viewer request week after week. And if you're on the YouTubes, please like this video and subscribe, because I will be doing more of The Raven Speaks. It's usually a weekly series, though every now and again. Maybe the script's not written in time because I decided to change it at the last minute. Or, real life happens, so usually weekly. So, yay. And if you are watching this on my Bloggity Blog, please choose the follow by email option so you will never again miss out on anything I do. And I am going to be eating after this because my stomach's starting to rumble. And Until next video. Goodbye. Okay, you're here. You're here. Okay, I'm typing that one. Okay, Bye!